All right, this is the very exciting part of the videotape. We're going to be talking about the Keep It Simple section of the book. In this, we're going to be talking about the 2 key moves of the backswing, 2 key moves of the downswing that make this swing really simple. We're going to talk about the vertical drop, or the gravity drop as I refer to it in the book. We're going to show you a couple of things on what not to do as well, because I see a lot of people make a few little errors, even though it's incredibly simple. So we're going to demonstrate this, and it's only going to be about 5 minutes long or so, and I think you're going to get a lot out of this part of the tape. Okay, before we talk about the 2 moves of the backswing and 2 moves of the downswing, including what I call the gravity drop or vertical drop, I want to talk a little bit about the swing itself. A lot of you play where you're just swinging in a circle, and of course in this circle, that only squares for 1 point of that tangent. That makes it tough unless you practice all the time. And the problem is too, the older you get, the less core rotation you have, and you don't tend to get any longer. You tend to get shorter. Whereas I'm talking about gravity drop, I mean, I'm just letting gravity swing that club down. So this is going to give you more distance, and the fact that it's an elliptical movement, you're going to hit it straighter. So those are 2 positive points of this. So how do you make this move? We talked about it earlier, but now I'm going to talk about the exactness of it. So I'm addressing the ball, and the first move when you take that club is to take the club straight back from the ball, perpendicular to the line of flight. When you take that back, straight back from the ball until at least the club face reaches your toe line, then your lower body starts to turn, and you continue straight up vertically with your hands and arms. So your hands and arms are going straight up, not this way, but straight up, and your lower body turns. That brings the club more to the inside. Now, if I turn in this direction, just so you can see what I'm talking about here, the golf club, the head itself, is outside of my hand line. And as I take in that club straight back from the ball, you notice the club head is still outside of my hand line. And it continues that way until the club is parallel to the ground. And you can see that the club is about the same angle as my back. We talked about this before. At this point, it continues, and it's the only point of where the hands are in line with the club. It continues straight up. A lot of people, they start back straight from the ball, and then they rotate their hands. Or I see a lot of people turn their hands in immediately, so their hands are outside of the club head. I see this a lot. I see people turning their body immediately. That pulls it inside again. Some of the mistakes I see people, they might take it straight back from the ball, but they don't turn their body, and they just keep lifting the club straight up. So it comes straight back to at least your toe line, and then straight up. And that puts you in this kind of position where the palm is facing out on both hands. So I'm swinging palm out, palm out. A lot of players, they have this right elbow low and they're swinging around this way. That's not going to work very well. It takes an awful lot of practice. I had one of my golfers ask me, they said, well, if you're going vertical with your hands and arms, how come it looks like you're over here? How come it looks like you're swinging around your body? I said, because when you take that club straight back, turn your hips and go straight up, when you're turning your hips, it pulls the club back to the inside, you see? So that little slide and then a turn. The hands and arms go vertically straight up. I've seen people do, like I said, they start it back beautifully, and then they start to try to pull it to the inside, because in their mind, their perception of the swing is that it's around the body. It is and it isn't. It is in the sense that that's what it looks like, but what we're really doing, the slide, tilt, turn of the hips, you want to get technical, straight up with the hands and arms, that drop, the flex of the knees, and whoosh. I want to point out that when you do come to the top of your swing, you'll be pretty much in line with the top of your shoulder. I mean, if you're ideally swinging this correctly. What makes it all work is that as soon as you get to the top of your swing, you flex your knees. This drops this whole unit. And you can see I'm in a tuck position right here. The knees flex. They went from, as we talked about earlier in the tape, the knees were about in the middle of your foot. When you start to flex your knees on the downswing, the knees will flex to about the toe line. This is in the book. You'll find a lot of information in this book that'll be very helpful. But at this point, flex and turn. That's all there is to a downswing. So what is it that makes a swing? Straight back from the ball. You don't rotate your hands like this. You don't just turn your hips. Straight back. Do you see this lateral slide of the hips? And then they turn. Now, the hips don't go this far lateral. It's just a slight little lateral move. When you do it in one movement, you can't even see that the fact is that you had that little lateral slide. But one of the keys to this, it's in the book, you must keep your right leg in its original angle. Now granted, when you did that little slide, there was a little slide of the hips and then the turn, but it came right back to the same position. You don't want to change that angle. You don't want to invert that angle. The weight, your body weight, will be going right down the center of your foot, favoring the heel and maybe slightly to the outside of that heel. And that's all there is to the golf swing. I mean, anybody can do this, and that puts you right here. It puts you palm to palm, not this way, but palm to palm this way to this way. Okay, I wanted to somebody just mentioned something to me just recently, that when I talked about that knee flex and turn, somebody told me that's hard to do. I said, you know what, it is. If you're turning around your body like this, it's almost impossible to do it. When we're talking about a vertical drop, that's different. I mean, that's like me lifting something and bending down. I mean, that's not hard to do, but it's a different swing technique altogether. Again, what we're talking about is a Ferris wheel, not perfectly plumb, but slightly tilted, and that's created by a little lateral slide and then a turn of the lower body. The club face moves straight back from the ball until it gets to, perpendicular line of flight, until it gets to about your foot line, and then the club comes straight up. Don't try to roll your wrist. That club comes straight up, and that puts you in this palm out position of the right hand. And of course, flex your knees, turn through, and when you turn through, guess what? The left hand is palm out. There it is. I mean, how simple a swing can that be? It takes all the guesswork out of swinging, and it gives you power because you're using gravity. The other thing I wanted to say is I saw one guy that was doing everything beautifully. He took it back. He is right in the perfect position. He flexed his knees, and that was it. Boom, he hits the ground. I go, well, where's the turn? You got to flex and turn. That's all there is to the downswing. You have to flex. You're gonna lose some of your height when your knees flex. That brings that vertical drop or gravity drop straight down, and then you turn through, and you're going to get a lot of power. This whole assembly of the arms, hands and arms and shoulders, drop and turn. Now, you can put your fanny against the vertical wall and you can make a swing. And if you're doing this correctly, you'll never hit the wall on your backswing and never hit the wall on your follow through. Now, granted, once you've gotten in this follow position, you can continue to rotate if you wanted to, but that's all there is to this golf swing. I just explained a very, very simple pathology of swinging this golf club. Anybody could learn this. It's really simple. Of course, you have to address the ball correctly and everything that's in the book. And a lot of the stuff in the book will help you tremendously. This tape was just to act as a supplement.